and welcome to this latest session in our series, Where Are the Interns Now? My name is Ellie Lose, and I'm the Research and External Engagement Officer at the John Smith Center and your host for the next 30 minutes. Our mission at the John Smith Center is to make the positive case for politics and public service. We do that in three ways: through research by studying the relationship between the public and their public servants, through our various internship and development programs designed to break down the barriers people face accessing public life, and through advocacy with public events. We are currently celebrating our 10th anniversary year with a host of events, such as this one. Our Where Are the Interns Now series shines a light on our alumni and their career journeys and how the John Smith Center supported them on their way. Today, we are joined by Jacqueline McCutcheon, former intern of our parliamentary internship program. Jack, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's nice to be back.
Lovely to have you. So let's get right into it. To start us off, could you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a bit more about what you did at the John Smith Center and what the parliamentary internship program entailed for you specifically?
Yeah, so I'm Jacqueline. So in 2023, I participated in the parliamentary internship program, which was a 10-week program based with an MSP. I was very lucky to get Claire Adamson in our team, who were absolutely amazing. And in that role, the office manager there she had a 10-week kind of development program for me, which meant that I got to participate in kind of all elements of what running an office of an MSP does. So my time was split between Parliament and constituency, which was really good. A lot of it was dealing with casework, community engagement, going with Claire to certain events, lots of opportunities for networking, and it was just a really good opportunity to see the internal kind of mechanisms of the Scottish Parliament and kind of make those connections, which was incredible.
That sounds amazing. I'm really glad you had such a good time. What have you done since you completed the internship? So your internship was last year. So what's happened since for you?
So I have graduated, thankfully, and when I was on my internship, I was also employed full-time for a local authority. When my internship came to an end, Claire offered me a permanent position. So I left my employment, which I was in for 13 years, to go work for Claire. And I was there for about 6 months. And then Colette, who I'm working for just now, was recruiting for an office manager. And approached me about that position, and it was closer to home. So yeah, now I manage Colette's office. So she's in East Kilbride, which is a really unique constituency, I think, with it being a new town, and yeah, just a really interesting place to be.
Wonderful. You mentioned there that you did your internship while you were in full-time employment. What was that like?
Yeah, it was quite the juggle. I tend to take on more than I can manage, but no, it was absolutely fine. So I was obviously at uni full-time, working full-time, and then when the internship came up, I was like, yeah, that's great, I'll take that on as well. But what I would say is that the staff at Claire's, where I was doing my internship, were just so accommodating, so flexible, and they just really worked around me. Ultimately, I was there for experience, and they accommodated anything that I needed, and they were very sympathetic to, I'm a mum as well. So yeah, no, they were great.
So that sounds like a massive challenge. You're studying, you're working, you're a mum, and you're applying for this internship. What was the motivation? What propelled you to take on this extra challenge?
So at the time that this internship was advertised, I was actually studying a module which was about state institutions and policy. And a lot of that was about kind of political power. And I just found it really interesting. And it was probably just a stroke of luck that this internship came up at the time. And initially when I seen it, I think you generally look at an internship, and it's for kind of younger cohorts. Might not have noticed I'm a bit older than than what you would generally think of an intern. But because I had been doing that module, I was like, this is just a really good opportunity to actually test these theories, if you like, of power, institutions, policy. So it tied in really nicely with that module, and I thought, oh, I've got nothing to lose. I'll just apply, and yeah, here I am.
Wonderful. That is really brave, like to do that with all these other commitments. So well done you for grabbing that opportunity. Really good. So you've mentioned that you now work for Colette Stevenson MSP as her office manager. Can you elaborate on what your role entails and how the internship might have helped you prepare for that specific role?
Yeah, so MSPs are employers kind of in their own right. So they kind of sit separate from being a Scottish Parliament employee. So my role is just supporting Colette as the employer, deal with a lot of the HR stuff, the general office management, and just really supporting her in her role. I'm really fortunate. So I'm pretty new to politics. Kind of before this internship, I would say politics was just really something that happened to you rather than you were active. Came from a trade union background, but in terms of being really involved in politics, I wasn't. But I'm really lucky that I work with staff who have been there for a very, very long time, and I still get to learn from them. So I'm still on my development and learning, so we all learn from each other. I'm used to roles that you can plan for. Mm-hmm. And this is just a very reactive role. You can plan all day long, but you just don't know what's coming to your door, what's coming to your inbox, or who's going to phone, particularly in terms of constituents who need urgent help. So yeah, it's a very reactive job, but yeah, it's good fun. It keeps us on our toes.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's a challenge. I would find that very challenging if it was all reactive. So well done you for taking on that challenge. So we'll come back to you in a second, Jack. I just want to say to our audience, if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any future application rounds for internship, and the next round is coming up very soon, I can promise you that. Please sign up to our newsletter. The link is shown on your screens just now. So if you sign up there, you will make sure to not miss out on that next round of applications. Wonderful. Jack, let's dive a bit more into your actual internship experience. So what were some typical tasks that you worked on? Was there anything, a specific project, a specific task that you really enjoyed, that really stood out to you, or was it all just new and exciting?
Well, I would say both. It was all new and exciting. I really loved my time as an intern, but Claire, who I was placed with, Claire Adamson, she was convener of the Culture Committee, and they were doing a launch of Culture and Communities report, and as part of that, Claire was also the patron of Recovery Scotland, so she did a lot of work with recovery communities. And in North Lanarkshire, there's the North Lanarkshire Recovery Band, and she arranged to have them come through and play at the report launch for this Culture and Communities. And so yeah, the recovery band came through to Parliament, and we had this event, and they played their songs, and it was just incredible, because I guess the message there was that people do recover when they have that support, and to see people in Parliament who have seen some of their darkest days, being there and thriving on that and showing people that they do recover, really stands out for me. It was incredible. I was actually crying probably for most of the event, because it was just really, it was just amazing. It was so powerful.
You're touching there on like things that, not just tasks that you did, but tasks that you really enjoyed. What was the most rewarding aspect of your time as an intern? Was it that event, or was it something else that you would say, I will never forget that?
Probably for me, the most rewarding was the people. Actually, you kind of come in to there and you think you have this kind of set image of what kind of politicians and that probably, supported by the media, but actually everybody that I came across was really supportive, really kind, and really invested in my development and so many people were like, if there's anything you need, come see us, or if there's any way, and that goes for the staffers as well. All the staff kind of come together. Do you need anything? Do you support? So kind of, busting that myth that politics is kind of this really, awful, place to work. It's not. It was actually just such a positive experience for me with a lot of support and a lot of people behind me.
Yeah, that's really lovely to hear. I'm sure that will hopefully motivate some people to apply to one of our future internships. Kind of going the other way, is there something that you wish you had known before your internship started? Anything that you weren't prepared for that was maybe a challenge?
I think I came into it with no expectations. I was just going to take it for what it was, which was experience. And I think that's a really good way to approach it. But what I probably should have done was ask more questions. There was so many times that I would maybe be in meetings and, tend to use abbreviations like a CPG as a cross-party group. So this term was getting thrown around and I was like, a CPG? What? And looking back, I should just have asked what it was rather than, nodding my head and hoping that nobody realised I had no idea what it was. So yeah, it's fine to ask questions and it's fine to not know, what you're doing, because ultimately you are there to learn. So yeah, if I could go back and give myself some advice, it would have been, just ask the question.
I think that's generally good life advice. We've all sat in meetings where we're like, what? What's that? So that's definitely good for everybody. Besides that, were there any unexpected lessons that you learned during your internship? Anything you didn't foresee coming?
No, honestly, I just had a really, as I say, I went into it with my eyes open. I had no, expectations. I took it for what it was, which was the experience. And I think it was kind of made clear that no two internships would be the same, because it would be dependent on what office you were placed in. Mm-hmm. So even speaking to other interns who had done it before, your internship was going to be really unique to you. So I think it is important to, accept that it will be based on the office needs at that time and what's going on in that office and where you're placed. So if you come in with, grand expectations, it's just, I would say, go in and use it for what it is, which is great experience and a great networking opportunity.
Yeah. What were, in terms of skills, what were the most valuable skills that you learned that might still help you today, even especially as office manager?
For me, obviously, I had a long career history, so there was a lot of transferable skills that were really beneficial to me to take into the internship. But I come from a trade union background, pretty set on my views, and I would say probably the most valuable thing that the internship gave to me was to be more open to views that perhaps don't align with my own, to really listen to alternative views and kind of engage in that respectful, healthy and constructive debate, if you like. And that's something that's just absolutely foundational to my role just now, is representing Colette in constituency, where I deal with constituents and I deal with organisations who, we maybe have different views, and it's about finding that common ground. And that's just been so important to me, but also on a personal level as well, being able to develop that. It's been great.
Wonderful. Besides, kind of, you already mentioned that, asking questions is maybe something that you would have now retrospectively would have done more. Were there any other challenges that you faced during the program, and how did you overcome them?
I think And I think this is quite, when I've spoke to other interns as well, you just have this imposter syndrome. Like you go into Parliament, you're like, wow, like just, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, it's kind of a big deal. And I think that just comes with continually, going back and just having a word with yourself and being like, well, I deserve to be here. So yeah, I guess that was, it's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, I would say, just always engage with the staff where you're placed, and they will support you all the way.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned, like you've said before, you were a mature intern, but at the same time, you're still feeling that imposter syndrome. And I think that, that's really quite a good thing to realize, like for other students as well, that I think that's just normal. You just, you're in a new environment. You wouldn't do an internship if you knew the place already. So that, I'm really glad that you're mentioning that and saying, that's fine. And it was very difficult, but that being in that new place, but it's absolutely okay. So thank you for raising that. Were there any other challenges or anything that you felt like was different for you, especially being a mature student, that you felt like non-mature students didn't face those challenges, or that was just different for them? Is there anything that you could talk to?
I think the juggle for me, with still working, studying and having this internship was, it was a lot, but it was definitely worth it. And if you want it, you'll find a way to make it work. And as I say, it's a really flexible. It's like when you speak to the MSP that you're placed, they will work around you. And there was times where I maybe had a class or a module or something on at work, and I was able to switch my days around. And they just really worked with me to make it work. In terms of other challenges, I just had a really, really good time. I didn't really find it, honestly. No, like,
I mean, that's great.
no, I don't know if that's just testament to Claire's office and the way they managed it. I just had such a positive experience that, and I just kind of went with it. Maybe because I did have, transferable skills, that I kind of hit the ground running. Maybe, that was a positive thing to be kind of mature student. I would say maybe the casework. You're just kind of given access to deal with constituents. And when I first totally overthinking my responses, but also very aware that, you're writing these responses on behalf of an MSP. And like, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. So I think the first couple of weeks, I was just like, I cannot believe she's letting me write on her behalf. Like, so yeah, there was maybe a wee bit of panic about that, but no, it was fine.
Yeah, well, that's good. This next question, you might not have a lot to say about it just because you've already had all of that experience, but was there anything in the internship that helped you grow professionally with your skills or in your networking, that you didn't have before, basically?
Yeah, so obviously I knew I was coming to do this, and I had a wee bit of time to reflect on kind of what I'm doing now and whether I would be doing this had I not have participated in the internship. And I can honestly say that I don't think I would have ended up here had I not have done the internship. I can't really see where I would have, got here without that. Definitely needed the experience of the internship to be placed with Claire. And definitely needed the experience that I gained from Claire to, have the kind of confidence and the skills to now manage Colette's office. So, the internship was just a starting place for me, and kind of built on that. And without the skills gained from each kind of step, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing just now.
Nice. That's very good to hear. What advice would you give someone that who's applying or thinking about applying for an internship, or someone who's just finished one? I realize that's slightly different. But do you have any pearls of wisdom to hand on?
I think as I kind of touched on, take it for what it is, which is, that valuable experience of seeing how an MSP's office run, and also how, the Scottish experience in the Scottish Parliament. But you have nothing to, I certainly don't think you have anything to lose from it. Worst case scenario, you go do the internship and you think, I don't really know if that's for me, in which case, that's a positive, because you can then, start thinking about what else you could do. So I really don't, you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. It's, and yeah, ask the questions.
Good advice. Asking questions, always good. Speaking of questions, I've got 2 more questions for you before we wrap it up. This is a bit more future oriented. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? What do you think you'll be doing?
I don't know. I'm not much of a planner, which is probably not great for an office manager. Hope Colette doesn't watch this. I don't know. I kind of, the reason that I went to uni and stuff was because I wanted to do good. I wanted to do something that made a difference, and I feel like this is what I'm doing now, whether that be at individual level, supporting constituents, or it be at kind of structural level, raising issues through Colette. I'm doing that just now, and I'm really settled in that. In terms of the future, it would have to be something like this, something that, I come home at night and I feel good about it. I feel like I've made a difference. But just in my role just now, and certainly even with Claire, the networking opportunities that are available. Again, for anybody thinking about their internship, there's loads of events on in Parliament, and I would encourage people to go to as many of them and get really involved in them as you could. I've received job offers through connecting with people at these events. So for now, I'm settled where I am, and in terms of the future, it will be something that I've, through a networking thing, I would imagine.
Nice. So you've kind of touched on this already a little bit, but I'll just ask again so you can maybe elaborate a bit. Has your career plan changed in a way through the internship, or was this always kind of the plan that you foresaw for yourself?
No, the internship totally turned my career on its head. As I say, when Claire offered me the permanent position with her, I already had a job with a local authority, and then I was left in this conundrum. I was like, oh, do I kind of stay on this path, or do I completely switch? And I had no plans actually to be working in politics, but when I got a taste of it through the internship, and I was actually quite good with constituents and kind of thrived in that environment. My whole career plan just completely changed. There was no active plan to be here. Yeah.
I guess that's good to hear, especially if you're not someone who plans that much. That will help you to get you where you are. That's really good. So thanks, Jack. We will end it here. If you're watching this and you enjoyed it, please note that we have many more of these sessions planned throughout the coming months. So follow us on X, LinkedIn, or Instagram to make sure to not miss them. And as I said previously, if you would like to keep up with our work and make sure you don't miss any application deadlines, please subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you very much, Jack, for joining us today. And thank you very much to our viewers for spending your lunch break with us. We'd love to know what you thought about this Where Are the Interns Now session, and would be grateful if you could complete a super quick survey. The link should be shown on the screen below just now. Until next time, and have a good day. Bye for now.